I'm Nita Bakos. I went to school at Montana State University and I was a member of the AOII chapter. I did not set out to join the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency. I found that job because I really wanted to live overseas. And at the time, that was probably the easiest way for me to do that. National security was never a passion of mine, but I was always interested in working overseas. Then I took a circuitous route. I didn't really have I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I still don't. But I'm curious. I remain curious about the world, and I think that's what really drove me to join the CIA. And I became, obviously at that time, much more passionate about national security and foreign policy. So it was really, for me, learning on the job. So I left the agency after 10 years of service, and I decided now was a good time for me to write about my experience there, because I would really like to incentivize other young women to join the national security community. It doesn't matter if it's working for the government directly or in another aspect, but I wrote a book that will be coming out June 4th, and it's called The Targeter, and it's really just about what it's really like to work in the agency and from a woman's perspective versus a guy who is hoping to be James Bond one day, because it's nothing like that. I've had a lot of good mentors, which I feel like I've been very lucky. I've taken inspiration from my big sister at the AOII house, the AOII chapter. Vicky Sherrick was amazing. She taught me how to basically live among a bunch of other women when I was very skeptical that was going to be a fit for me. I had very good teachers in high school and some great teachers in college, and I've been lucky to have and find good mentors and find inspiration in their passion for the work that they were doing, regardless of what it was. You know, realistically, I would be great if I could just say, oh, this perfect professional accomplishment or this personal accomplishment, but I think when you think about being a woman today, you can't, it's pretty difficult to have it all if you have a family and if you have a job and if you have other responsibilities or you volunteer. You're spreading yourself fairly thin. So I hate to even, give the impression that I don't know anybody who does everything perfectly. I think you're lucky if you can get through the day and do something 60%, others 40%, and throw a little extra 10% in once in a while when you need to. I've lived in all sorts of different places in the United States and across the world, and the one thing that remains consistent for me is the group of friends that I made while I was in college, and most of that is due to the fact that I found the right fit in the AOII chapter of AOII at Montana State University, and we're talking this year about getting together for our 50th birthdays. So this is something for me that I will cherish forever. This is a constant for me, and it's just been one of the things that I look forward to the most. And when I think of AOII, I think about the things I've learned there, obviously. So, things we learned at formal meetings, but more than anything, when I think about AOII, I think the thing that I cherish the most is probably the friendship, obviously, but just the moments of connection that you get throughout college, because that can just be such an isolating experience. But you just always have that group of people that were there. You have so many people in the house that you can come back to, and somebody is always there to talk to. And I think that is the thing that I enjoy the most. I would say remain true to yourself. You don't have to fit in with the guys. The diversity is a gift, and your perspective is important, and your perspective as a woman is important, and that's where you should always come from first and foremost. And it doesn't matter what kind of industry you're in. If you happen to be in one that is male dominated, stick to your guns. There are men out there that will help and support you. You just need to find them if you happen to work in those kinds of industries. I've always been very analytical, which was why the analysis piece was such a great fit for me. But I argue the facts, and when I know my position and I understand the subject matter, I just tend to be able to, that's what I, ground myself in. I'm not as self-conscious thinking about where am I coming from as a woman. It's really about what is this information conveying and what do I need to get these people to understand. And for me, that was where my confidence came from in work. My personal life, that's a whole different story. I think ambition is so individual. I really, really hope that every young woman that hears this knows that regardless of what their passion is and their ambition, they need to pursue that on their own right. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I think we all spend too much time worrying about that.